right, and welcome to our stream, everybody. This is Ariel, and we are streaming live on YouTube and on Twitch. This is Thrilling Thursday, and we are continuing with our course on the Arbatel of Magic. We are streaming live, like I said, on YouTube and on Twitch. I've got so many devices here, and I can't seem to make sense of any of them. Hold on a second. Okay, so moderating today on YouTube is the lovely Heather, and moderating on Twitch is the lovely Deline. So thank you so much, Heather. Thank you so much, Deline. And thank you to everybody for joining us today. Just as a reminder, we will be here doing the Arbatel for a total of 7 weeks, unless we need an extra week for some reason, which I don't think we will. So keep coming back. Today is number 4. Today is the 4th septenary. So we're just over the halfway mark today. We have a shop at arielscornershop.com, arielscornershop.com. You can find all kinds of merchandise there, and each of those pieces of merchandise listed will bring you to a either Amazon link or Etsy link. And the way that works is that whatever you buy after you click on our link that goes into one of those shops, if it takes you to one of those shops, a little cookie goes on your computer, and that we get a tiny, it's really tiny, but it does help, a little tiny commission off of everything that you buy that day, whether or not it's something that was listed on our shop. So it is an easy way for you to give us some support, especially if you're going to be shopping on Amazon or Etsy. Another way to support us is with a donation. You can do that by going to paypal.me/arielgatoga, paypal.me/arielgatoga. If you're watching on YouTube, you could use a super sticker or super chat if you're live, or a super thanks if you're on a restream. We have a Discord server, and we have a Facebook group. Plus, there's a little forum attached to our website as well. So there are plenty of places where you can connect with the community, get your questions answered, get support, or offer support. We have chat threads open on both of the streams right now. So if you have any questions for me personally, absolutely put them in there, and I will answer them before the end of the stream. But if you'd like to just chat amongst yourselves, please avail yourself of that. We love that. Okay, now I did have a couple questions, so let's see if I can find them. I could have gotten all of this done a little earlier probably, but I just ran out of time, so please bear with me. I should be able to pull this up rather quickly. All right, so we had some questions from last week's septenary, number 3. So one of them, they did their comments and then they deleted them, so I'm not sure if I even remember what it was. It was mostly it just seemed like they were annoyed with the Arbatel because of the Christian language. And I don't know how many times I've told you, fair warning, trigger warning, there's Christian language in this Arbatel, but there is, and there's more to come. And if that's not your bag, I get it, but this is not your course. And I try to tell you that from the beginning. So if you really just love to get upset about Christian language, then please listen. But if it's a thing that bothers you, this is not your course, okay? And we try to kind of guide our way through that language and understand it esoterically. But their point of view was they believed that the author of this book was out to evangelize would-be mages. And I don't believe that that's true. I don't think that there's any evidence to support that belief. For one thing, this was Switzerland in the 16th century. Research Switzerland in the 16th century. Who were they going after? Who were they going after? They were not really going after witches. They were going after Christian heretics. That's who they were going after. So these people were not on the side of the church saying, you know, I'm going to save you all. They were the heretics, these people writing this book. They were the ones that would have been sought out. So I really don't buy the argument that they were trying to evangelize and convert would-be mages. I really come from the understanding that they were Christian. themselves, and they really believed what they were saying, and they were being sincere and earnest. And if you're wise, you can read into this, you can read this Arbatel and glean all that wisdom and understand it, get understanding, as a mage has to do, for your own practice. There's nothing in here that says you have to become a Christian. So just calm down. Calm down. All is fine. All is well. I'm not a Christian. I love this book. I'm not a Christian at all. But then again, I do a little bit more. I understand this from a Luciferian perspective, so I think that that's where I come from. So, did they? Looks like they deleted their other question too. Oh well. I was gonna answer it, but let's just see if it's on this one. Okay, there were a bunch of, you know what? I put it in the Discord. I've got to get this out. There was too much in here, and I want to just get this out. So bear with me. I'm lucky. I'm glad I reposted this in the Discord server, so we had all these questions. These questions are, here it is. This person said, while there are some good Christian values in the book, I have found it is also mixed with what appears to be false information and therefore can't be trusted. What false information? Here are some examples. Number 1. So let's go through these one at a time. The true and divine Magus can command all creatures of God and enlist the services of the world's governors. No mage on earth can do that, they said. How do you know? How do you know that? That's an assumption that you have. You don't know. You don't know what you're capable of. They are, the author of this is referring to the fact that Adam, or Adam Kadmon, in the book of Genesis, was given dominion over all of the earth. And that the belief of that mage was that when we allow ourselves to accept our full power, this is coming from my perspective of what they meant. When we are allowed to come from our full power, we too will return to that place where we have complete dominion over the earth. So I believe that they were very sincere in that, and I don't think that they were giving any false information. That's just how they were dealing with this. Number 2, a spirit can add 700 years to your life. Now they're claiming this is false information. Well, they were hearkening to their understanding. Now remember, this comes from the 16th century. Can we remember that? What was going on back then? Okay, so this is a person from the 16th century, hearkening back to the ages that were listed in Genesis. The listed ages of the characters in Genesis, that many of them were 700 years old, those kinds of big, giant numbers. And their perspective is that is a possibility for human beings to really expand their life expectancy, and the way to do that is to work through these spirits. Now, whether you get to extend your lifespan 700 years, anything's possible, but I don't really care about the word 700 years. The perspective is that it's possible to expand on your lifespan, and science is proving that is true. We can extend our lifespans. Maybe 700 years. I'm not saying yes or no. It doesn't matter to me. I don't have the desire to extend my lifespan by 700 years, but it's an interesting thought to contemplate. A spirit can make you invisible. That's one of the reasons why they say this is a teaching that cannot be trusted, because they say that's false information, because a spirit can make you invisible. Well, I know for a fact it's true. I have become invisible by spirits. Now, does that mean that nobody was able to see me? No, that's not what invisible means. It means invisible to those who I need to be invisible to invisible to problems, invisible to not like if there was a big hullabaloo going on in like an organization I was involved with, but I didn't really have anything to do with the hullabaloo and I didn't want to get dragged into it, I could make myself invisible to those people so that they don't think of me. They move to something else. They disregard me. That's a type of invisibility. Is it possible to be invisible like in a movie, The Invisible Man, where you're there and they can't see your physical form? I mean, like I said, anything's possible, but I don't think that that's what they are alluding to. And even if it is what they are alluding to, that's not what I would use it for or try to attempt to use it for. I always like to work within my sphere of influence. And my sphere of influence is that an invisibility spell is very possible. And a lot of grimoires have invisibility spells, not just this one. And that really just means that you are invisible to that which you do not want to interact with, or you are invisible to problems. That's to me what that is. Number 4, a spirit can turn copper into gold. Okay, well, 16th century, look at all the grimoires, look at all the alchemical literature, and tell me that everybody wasn't talking about this at that time. Right? That's what everybody was talking about, turning base metals into gold. Now, the philosophical understanding of turning base metals into gold, even in the 16th century, was talking about a spiritual process. Now here, it's obvious that they are talking about a relationship between Venus and the sun, because Venus is copper and the sun is gold. And they are talking about the spirit of Venus and how the spirit of Venus can turn those energies into solar energies. And that is definitely possible. Whether you can actually make an alloy, the spirit probably could give you the information on how to make an alloy of copper and gold. They probably could, if that's something that you were looking to do. So that is not a false teaching from my perspective. Number 5, a spirit can bestow water spirits that serve mankind in visible form. Well, that's not false either, because I've seen spirits being conjured to visible form more than once. There are organizations now that's all they are interested in. That's their only type of evocation, is evoking unto physical appearance spirits. Many times they do that within triangles and manifestations and magic mirrors. This particular system doesn't use those kinds of tools, but conjuring a spirit into physical form is very much something that many magicians are involved with, and many of us can attest to the fact that we have seen it happen. Just because you haven't seen it happen or you don't believe it's possible doesn't mean that that is universally the truth. So you don't need to throw that on us and say that we're believing in or teaching something that's false just because you haven't experienced it yourself. So that's my thing. Then they say, do you have experience with this magic and its results, or were you just sharing the book with us? Both. Both. I'm sharing the book with you because I find it highly effective. I love this particular system of magic. And if I'm going to do any kind of evocation, this is one of the few systems I use. Or my dark magic course, or also Al Manning's course, on evocation called the that Ishtar magic course. I might even do a course on that sometime. It's really a fascinating course. So yeah, so I appreciate. I'm not trying to be antagonistic with you, because I get that you think that you're being very sincere when you say these things. It comes off though, just so you know, when you say things in that way, it comes off as if you are being antagonistic towards what we're doing. I don't think you're trying to do that. I really think that you're being sincere, and so I'm really going to be trying to be sincere in responding to you. But be careful. Sometimes, if you want to engage in a conversation, rather than throwing terms like false teachings and that kind of stuff, you might want to use less buzzwords than that. That's just my opinion. But I hope I answered your questions, and I think that they are all very good questions, and I'm glad that you brought them. And I think that if you have more, I would like you to bring more. And regardless of the tone in which you bring them, I will answer them, but I may answer them using the same tone that you bring them to me with. All right. Let's get started with septenary number 4. Aphorism 22. We refer to something as a secret that cannot be discovered by human skill alone. It requires divine revelation, as God has concealed this knowledge within creation. However, God allows the spirits to reveal it for appropriate use. These secrets can pertain to divine, natural, or human matters. You can seek out the most specific and significant ones. More will be available. So this coming septenary, these coming aphorisms in the septenary are going to be dealing with what the author or authors call secrets. And you'll see that they are divided into 3 different categories of secrets. So they're just defining what they mean by secret in this first aphorism.